What's up, guys? I'm about to design this firing pin for this Beretta using Shapr3d. I figured I'd do it real fast. It won't take, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. Gotta find the major diameter of this piece real fast. The only reason why I'm doing this is instead of having to write it down on a piece of paper, I can dimension this and then use a PDF document as a printout, which I'll show. That's one thing I like about Shapr3d. You can use this for machining as well as 3D printing is what I use it for too. One thing I don't like about the dimensioning on here for like especially for like circles, it only uses the radius value, which you have to remember that if you're like putting the diameter, we double what you mean or what you want it to be. For some reason, I haven't figured out a way to switch it between diameter and radius. If you double tap on the face of a part, as long as it's flat, it'll zoom in like this, where you can draw on the face of the part. If somebody's interested in trying to learn, this is one of the easiest softwares I've used. I've used SolidWorks and Fusion 360. This one's like really fast. You only have to. The only downside, you have to have an Apple Pencil to work it. If you ever draw a circle on this face and it doesn't, if you're like trying to click the outside of the circle where you just want to move this outside piece, you go to project on the drawing. You can project that line onto the surface, and then you have it already there to where you can move it instead of having to try to mess with how far the drawing is on the surface of the face, because you can move it back and forth to where it's directly on to the face, and it'll finally like realize that to where you can manipulate the inside or outside. Now, normally on these Beretta firing pins, I'm just going to draw this to show, but they have a smaller diameter firing pin or a smaller diameter tip right here that protrudes out like, I think it's about 3/8 of an inch or so, but it's like that, but it's super tiny. So that's the part that breaks off. The rest of this is fine. But what I'm going to do is drill that hole out because it's only about 30 thousandths bigger, or I think it's like 50, 60 thousandths bigger. But anyways, it's enough to where you can make this work on as a fire pin. I'm just going to grind it down to where it comes to more of a sharp point, and probably make the very, very tip of it like blunt, where it's not so sharp, but it'll still hit the primer. Now I'm just gonna erase that and bring this to a point about like that, which I'm not going to be exact on the exact angle because I'll just do that by eye on the lathe. That's roughly what it's going to look like. It's going to be, really small. Now, the firing pin has a notch cut out in the middle, like an end mill. It ain't gotta be exact. But if somebody wants to learn more about Shapr3d, like some part of it, and if I know it, I'll shoot a video on it. If somebody just leave a comment or something. But yeah, you just extrude that, and that'll be the part that's cut out with the end mill. Now, I'm probably not gonna go as deep, or I'm gonna try not to, because the deeper you go, the more weak that part of the pin will be. But I am gonna harden it, so. Around that. Now that I got that done, all I gotta do is go create drawing. Then you can click on these and you can actually make them bigger or smaller, depending on the scale. Since that part's so small, you can go all the way up to like 7:1. Oh, wrong way. Yeah, so the diameter's so small, but this you gotta wait. And this doesn't have any cuts all the way through it, but there's a hollow mode right there. You can see where it shows. This is like the back side of it. It shows where that cut would be, because it's kind of like at an angle. That dotted line. But you can also do section views on here, where if you want to cut this in half to show what something would look like if you had a bunch of cavities on the inside of it. You can also do that. Now, one thing I don't like about it is the lining up of the way the measurements are. Most blueprints, if you have the side face or the top or the bottom, these extension lines will line up. Well, on here, there's no way to really make it look like that, uh, because you can't, manipulate the angle of it. So, like, I showed my instructor this one time, and he found it confusing the way they have it laid out on here, because like the way they teach us in blueprint class, everything is laid out like, lined up. Like this point would be lined up with the center of that, and like on this one it'd be a little different. But basically, if it was a block or something, it'd be the same width here and here, like this corner and the other corner over here at the top part of this highlighted part. would like line up, like that. If it was a square part or something like that. Do it like this. Just add in a note that depth of that is. I'm about to send this to my phone so I can pick it up and then start turning it down.